Hi, welcome back to our online preparation course of the TOEFL test. In this module, we are going to continue getting prepared for the grammar section of the test. This time, we are going to be focusing on past participles. What is a past participle? A past participle, is a word that can be used in perfect tenses, right? It's a form of the verb that can be used in perfect tenses or in passive forms, okay? So, if you have ever seen a list of verbs, right? It is the third list. For example, forget, forgot, forgotten. Forgotten is a past participle. Write, wrote, written. Written is a past participle. So just as in present participles, past participles can be used in two different situations. They can be used as part of the verb or they can be used as adjectives. Remember that it is important that you know how to identify the subject and the verb of a sentence. On your screen, you have two sentences. The family has purchased a television. The poem was written by Paul. On the first sentence, we can identify that the family is the subject and the verb is has purchased. Okay? So, in this case, the past participle is purchased and it is part of the verb because it is preceded by has. So, this makes a present perfect sentence. On the second case, we have that the subject is the poem and the verb is was written. Okay? So if you notice, the past participle form of the verb is part of the verb. Why? Because it is accompanied by the verb to be in order to make a passive sentence. Okay? So remember, past participles in this case are working as part of the verb. Okay, but what happens on these two sentences? We have the television purchased yesterday was expensive. The poem written by Paul appeared in the magazine. Okay, so in this case, the first sentence, the subject is the television purchased yesterday. Why? Because our verb is was. So the past participle is purchased, and in this case, it is working as an adjective that is describing the television. Okay, why? Because it is not preceded by any verb. Okay. On the second case, we have that the subject is the poem written by Paul, that is the subject, and the verb is appeared. Okay, so the past participle written, in this case, is an adjective that is describing the poem. Why? Because it is not accompanied by any verb. Okay, so let's review. In this case, the past participles are working as adjectives. Purchase is describing television. Written is describing the poem, right? They cannot be verbs because we already have verbs. In the first case, the verb is was, and on the second case, the verb is appeared. Let's try an example. We have the packages blank, mail at the post office will arrive Monday. So remember, it is important that we learn how to identify subjects and verbs in sentences. So we know that our verb is will arrive. So by knowing that, we automatically can eliminate options A and B. Why? Because if we put have, the sentence becomes a present perfect sentence and doesn't make sense with the second verb, right? And if we put were mailed, the sentence becomes a passive voice sentence that doesn't make sense with the second verb. Okay? We know that the packages, right, is part of the subject. So we can eliminate option C, right? Okay, so the correct answer is D. The packages just mailed at the post office will arrive Monday. So, if you notice, the past participle is mailed and it is working as an adjective that is describing the packages. Why? Because will arrive is our verb. Remember, a past participle can end in ed sometimes, but there are many past participles that are irregular. Okay? So, don't get confused. You can use, right, some past participles, for example, with ed in the simple past, right? Okay? But you also have to be aware of the irregular ones, right? For example, in the simple past, you have she painted the picture. No, that is a regular verb, and that is a past simple. In the second case, the past participle, she has painted the picture. So again, you have an ed past participle. No? Or an adjective, the picture painted by Karen is now in a museum. So if you notice in this case, painted, that is a past participle with ed, is working as an adjective that is describing the picture. Okay? Yes, there are many past participles that have ed, but there are also many that are irregular, and they follow the same rules. Okay? So, it is your turn. Go back to the practice section, do the exercises, and see you next time.